Hey guys, and welcome to my Let's Play Syndicate demo. So, as you know, as I just said, this is the Syndicate demo released by EA on January 31st, at the end of last month. It's only been a couple of days since that day, so it's probably end of last week, probably last Friday. I'll let you know right now, for the first 5 minutes of me playing, I'm really bad. I have no clue what's going on. But I can say right now that after playing this a bunch of times with randoms and with friends, I can say this is probably one of the coolest games that is going to come out in the beginning of 2012. Alongside things like Twisted Metal, SSX, you got Mass Effect 3. These are games that are awesome. I think the coolest thing about this game is I didn't expect it. I didn't even know it was coming out. I was unaware of the game until a friend of mine told me. He's a big Wii guy, so he doesn't have these bigger consoles like the 360 and the PlayStation 3. But this demo should be available for both of those. Let me go through a couple of things. Right now you got the HUD, so I'll go through a bit of the basics of the HUD that resembles what has to do with you and what has to do with your teammates. So starting with what has to do with you is anything on the bottom half of the screen. So as you can see right now on the bottom right we have the RB because I'm playing on the Xbox, and you've got the dart overlay. The overlay is actually a mode that you can put your character in that will allow you to see through walls. It allows you to see objectives, allows you to see where enemies are, where your teammates are. And stuff like that. It's a really cool mode. It's very useful if you're going into an area where you want to scope out the area before you actually turn the corner and start laying bullets into dudes. As for the middle, we have some little icon which is repeated throughout the screen for everybody, but below the icon we have the actual player score. So my score just says that I'm below the top scorer right now, which is the middle guy on my team on the top there. I have no clue his name. I can't see it from here. And so that's that. And then on the left side, we have your game specialties, in a sense. You play agents in this game, and there's a whole bunch of really cool upgrading features that you can add to your own character. Whether it's researching new abilities, researching parts for your weapon. Like I'll give you an example later on. I actually fully upgrade the weapon that I'm using right now, and it comes with a red dot, increased damage, higher clip capacity, and even a grenade launcher, which is really awesome. So this game is pretty badass. Now the top shows everyone on your team. It shows their abilities with these little squares or these little slats you see just below the blue line. It says their score, which right now everybody's got a worse score than I do. I don't know how that ended up happening, then you have their names above the blue line, and then you have just off to your left side of the screen, just below the first person, you have your current objective, if I'm right. So, in the middle, on the left side, we have the leaderboards and your stats. It actually switches periodically between the leaderboards and your stats. And when I'm saying leaderboards, I mean not the leaderboards online, but the leaderboards within your game. So who's got the highest score between all four of you? So as you can see, we just moved to a new area. And I think one of the coolest features of this game is that, yes, it's linear, but there's so many different routes, if you want to say, you can take. Like, I can go through that door just off to the right. It will take me into these what do you call these, shipping crates in the distance there, and you can actually travel through them and get behind everybody and flank if you want. As you can see right now, I'm just chilling out with this person here, and I'm just healing them as much as I can just so they don't die, and then they could do the same for me. The weapons in this game are really cool. They all have their strengths for different types of gameplay. If you want to stay back, you can use a sniper. If you're very aggressive, but you want to keep your distance, you can use like the tar, like I'm using. They even have a ACR for the demo, which you can end up using too. There's a no, not UMP. There's an Uzi, I think it's an Uzi. There's an Uzi in the game, and I think that's what I've just picked up. Yeah, actually. It's really cool. This is another feature of the game. Once you kill these bosses, mini bosses, should I say, which I'll explain to you how you beat them in a second. You can actually take chips from them. It's another feature that allows you to, 1, gain points, and 2, it allows you in the end to use these chips for upgrades. Personal chip upgrades, which I'll tell you about later. As you progress through levels, the game does ask for every teammate to be together. So we've all gotten to the area. You press the button. It will only allow you to continue when everybody is in that area. So in the background, I'm talking so you really can't hear it. You'll have an overlay of a woman's voice telling you tips and tricks of how to progress. Like for this area, she said that try to find an area that's above ground. So try to move above ground. That's just me exploring. I'm just being a douche. In this area, there's a shitload, a crap load of enemies. Excuse my language. And there's a turret, which has got a laser, which you can see right there. To progress through this area, you're going to want to breach this little box below us, which I'm doing a really bad job of in this video. But as you can see, it was just to the left there. And me and this dude went like guns blazing. Like we were like, we're going to be badass and we're just going to run in there and do whatever the hell we want. Don't ask me if it goes well, because I really don't remember. But, so we went guns blazing. Probably not the best idea in the world. And you're supposed to actually run around that area, and there's the place where you can actually turn off the turret so that you don't end up injuring yourself or anything like that. Mind you, if you're standing in front of the turret, it's going to destroy you, but if you actually run past it, it practically does crap. So this is probably one of the most intense areas. This and probably the ending of the actual demo. The reason this area is more intense and I look like a douche trying to jump up there is because it's got probably the most enemies in the demo. The quantity of enemies in here... Yeah, I just turned off the turret. The quantity of enemies in here is pretty big, especially on harder difficulties, which you can play these co-op matches on 2 difficulties for the demo. But I think in the actual version of the game, there's going to be a 3rd difficulty, maybe like... It starts on normal and hard, and then I think there's going to be like a super hard or an expert or something like that, because they have an option or a space for you to get 3 stars on a level. So that means I think they're going to put in, or they do have, a harder difficulty. You know, we're going to progress through this level, and we're going to move on to the next level, which has 2 snipers. And if you're playing on hard, one of the snipers is actually a rocket launching dude, so he's got a laser set rocket launcher, and he'll fuck you up, no problem. Like, he will jump in and really mess you. I'm not kidding. So once we progress through this area, there's about 1 more area, and then we're in the final area. And in the final area, I'm not kidding, like, it's difficult, because you have not only the guy you're supposed to be assassinating for the mission, but you actually have like a little henchmen, so they'll appear out of nowhere, dude, and they will mess you up. Like, you think you're the only person or the only dude. Like, this is one game where when you get to these ending sequences, you gotta work together, because if you do not work together, I'm telling you, you're dead. You are dead. So there is cool things about this game too, like, I don't know if I'm going to be looking up, but if I look up, the roof is actually going to open, and there's going to be like at least 3 enemies on each side. Yeah, as you can see, there's enemies up there with their laser scopes, but just below them, there's actually these triggers where you can breach, and they will close the actual roof back up. So if you don't want to, you don't have to deal with them, but in the odd case that, you know, you want more points, which is usually most of the time the case, I suggest, you know, stay in an area where you're well covered and just pick them off. It works well that way. So I'm gonna have to reboot my entire team. because they just got destroyed by the shotgun guy. And hopefully this guy will help me up. You know what? I recorded this a while ago, and I have no clue what's going to end up happening in the video. Yeah. I think this is the sequence where we all went down like at least 4 times, so I'm actually going to cut to something else. I'm going to cut to when we progress through this level. I will be right back.
Everyone needs to gather here before we move on.
Okay guys, I'm back. Then this is the following area. Basically once you beat the last area, there's a hallway down in the top left corner of the room. And you basically kill 3 more enemies and progress to this area where there's no returning to the last area, so you can't hide. This area can be very difficult. This is the actual boss area. Right now we have no clue what we're doing, so, you know, everybody's going down here and there. But to overview the whole thing, the boss has armor. And the only way to beat him is to actually breach his armor, which you just go up to him at a specific distance. And just like you can heal your teammates or reboot them, you basically walk up to this dude like you see here and you can breach him. Once he's breached, he'll be stunned for a second and you can actually do some damage to him. Once you do damage to an entire bar of his health, which is the white section you can see, he'll lose one of those orange ticks, but he'll become immune again. You have to rinse and repeat until you beat him. The difficulty to this is not the enemy or the boss himself, but it's actually all the other enemies that are going to be popping out of everywhere. They will pop out from anywhere they can possibly pop out from. I think there's like 3 waves depending on if you've killed them all or not. After you beat the first wave of his armor, actually, he spawns a UAV that will shoot at you. So your best option is to get rid of that. But now that he's in his last immune sequence, you actually don't have to shoot at him. You can actually just breach his armor and he dies. And then we didn't do it here because we didn't know at the time, but you can actually chip rip him, which is what I did in what one of the teammates did earlier, as I showed you. It's called chip ripping. So I'm going to get these guys up, and I think we're just going to celebrate. So that's basically the gist of the demo. And after you're done, you get a mission complete bonus, which I think is about 2,000 points. And it basically goes into a trailer, sort of say, of the demo. The trailer is just, it's a really high-paced trailer with some dubstep, I think by Skrillex or something like that. But it's really cool. It ends up being like a really cool reward to beating the level. And the cool thing about it is you can just rinse and repeat, upgrade your weapons, and play all over again. So thanks for watching. Rate, comment, subscribe, and see you guys later.